And we're very happy to introduce Dr. Jie Li from EPAM Systems, who is head of research in a consultants company in the Netherlands, and she will show how tools like ChatGPT or generative AI transform research processes in the industry and how to apply it to different questions. Right?
Actually, recently come out with Kaiserslautern, but more focused on specific tools.
Deep dive then.
Yes.
If you need Jay, I have this research as well.
There.
Oh, it's
You have access to yours. This doesn't work.
Okay. Hi everyone, my name is Jie Li. So thank you so much to invite me here just to give a different perspective from industry point of view. And I'm going to talk about mainly synthetic user research. So that's a big hype in industry, like we try to use like AI generated intelligent systems or fake users to help us evaluate the products or contribute to part of the research. So we're not fully using it yet. We are still experimenting with it. So today I'm just going to guide you through some case studies we have been running and what's the industry's perspective on this. So I would like to introduce myself a bit. So my name is Jie Li, and the pronunciation is like letter J. So J. It's my full name. So between 2009 and 2021, it's a long time. I did my master's and PhD from TU Delft, and my background in industrial design engineering. So I'm the designer. I'm building prototypes, and I'm working on design research, evaluating user experience. That was until my PhD. Then I shifted to kind of computer science. I joined the CWI. That's the Research Institute for Computer Science in the Netherlands. And I worked there as postdoc for 4.5 years. And my main research is on social AI experience, design, build, and evaluate. And so after that, I decided to make a career switch. That's why I joined the industry. So that's where I'm working at. And EPAM is a consultancy company. And I'm leading the research and insights practice in the Netherlands at the moment. And my main task is to collaborate with universities. And another side I'm leading is like how we can shift industry's focus from UX heavy, so user experience heavy, to human AI experience. So how we can shift people, like what kind of skills we need to unlearn and learn in order to adapt to this resolution. And also that's another side of me. So I guess you all have it. Some side, like years of your PhDs I'm really fed up of this. So I want to have a bakery. So then I'm still continuing to do it. I started 7 years ago. It was my last year of my PhD. I was so tired, and all those images you see here are generated by me, so not AI. And so I'm still working on that. It has been 7 years, and I'm just an artist on the other side of my career. And also that's also a bit of promotion for ACM Interaction. So I'm now hosting a column. It's called Beats to Bytes. So bytes is the eating bytes. Over there I'm writing articles about HCI methodologies in commercial practice or in academic practice. So it's everything about research methodology, user experience, and how we run experiments in industry, etc. So if you are interested, you can follow my column on ACM Interactions. Okay, now I'm going to talk about why we call it synthetic user research. I'm going to show you, I don't know if you are aware of this platform. It's called the Synthetic Users. there has been a lot of discussion, at least on LinkedIn, about this platform. And the CEO of this company, just jumped out and he texts me a lot to say, are you someone who behind this to say things against us? So I'm not. But today I just wanted to put a kind of definition. That's the screenshot I took from their website. So they claim their platform can help you to do all kinds of user research without users. So also help you, all the hassles where you have to recruit them and you have to pay them, you have to scheduling them. Yeah, so I still have a lot of doubt, but I also experiment with them. They give me an account, let me to try all the applications on the platform. So just for this presentation, I defined it. So synthetic users, you just use artificial intelligence, so probably largely just large language models, to simulate real participants, and just to see, okay, if they can also give you evaluations or of the product. Before I came here, actually I talked to a few experts in HCI or UX or in our community. So I asked them, what do you think about synthetic user research? So from Professor Hiroshi, he's from Media Lab, MIT Media Lab. He was really like, oh, I don't believe it. There's no average users, and large language models only give us average results, based on known data, and he doesn't believe it. And I also talked to Professor Kaiserslautern, and he gave a very interesting point of view. And he said, okay, because it's based on all past data, so the synthetic user research is limited in innovation because we cannot look beyond the known data. But he pointed out something like empathy and sympathy. He said sometimes design research or UX research gets too empathetic with users. That might hinder our objectivity in interpreting the results. So he thinks AI maybe can help us to step back, be not so empathetic, but maybe sympathetic with users, just to keep a balance between the objectivity and empathy. Then I also talked to this UX manager from Google, and he mentioned something like we all agree with in terms of biases and lacking first-hand observation. And he also mentioned something like data validity. He said even you put the same prompt to ChatGPT, it can generate different results. So where is the validity? And I also talked to our head of research, France, Sarah, but she mentioned something like, I think Kaisa also mentioned, just generate synthetic data to represent the underrepresented group. For instance, in our HCI studies, we often exclude people with color vision, color blindness participants. So there might be some interesting insights from this group of people, so that the data can help with that. Yeah, of course, ethics and confidentiality, and that's really a big code of conduct in our company, just to try to avoid that. And last person I talked with is she's really a multilingual UX researcher in Japan, and she mentioned this kind of human touch. She said that the human language, the warmth and personality, the authenticity, when you have conversations with real users, it really cannot be replaced by AI. Okay, you see, it's still quite negative, people's opinion, experts' opinion about synthetic user research, but we are still using it. So that's a research done by user interviews. So later I share my slides. You can click on the link to see the research. So they surveyed over 1,000 researchers, UX designers, data scientists, product managers in industry, and just to see, okay, what kind of AI tools they are using. So like over 2/3 of them are using some of AI, AI in some of their work. And you also see what kind of work they use AI for. So a lot of them, it's transcription. Like for me as a qualitative research, I use AI a lot. Just help me transcribe the audio recordings to text, so I can dive deep into my insights. They also use it a lot for note-taking, so during meeting, note-taking or even summarize the notes after the meeting. And they also use it for surveys, this kind of tasks. And when they were asked what kind of tools they are using, so from this survey, it's like over half of the audience use ChatGPT. That's so far the most popular tool among industry researchers and designers. And I will say a bit what our company is doing about this. So for us, it's like really strict. So unless our client or internal managers allow us to use AI for our actual deliverables, we are not allowed to use them, even just for any part of work. Even checking your language is not allowed unless you get approval. But just for us not lagging behind, we are allowed to experiment with AI tools. And the company also offered like an internal version of ChatGPT, so that when we put things into this platform, it's more secure. So you don't worry your data is going to leak into ChatGPT. And even using these tools, we have to be cautious not to put very sensitive and confidential information. So that's still like the code of conduct is evolving every day. So it's not the official guideline yet, but we are all updating it every day. So I'm now going to tell you 2 case studies which I experimented with synthetic users. So that's kind of interface when you log into synthetic users. That's a platform, and I shared the link there, and I think you can join the waiting list for a beta version of the platform. So for here, I did a very small interview study. My goal is to understand the luxury customers, so people who consume luxury goods. What is an ideal membership program for them? So I just typed the audience here and my problem there, so the questions I want to understand. And I asked the synthetic users to generate a set of profiles for me to do this synthetic interview. But at the same time, I also did 6 interviews with real users just to compare the results. So we can see on the left side, they generate 6 synthetic users, and the platform is really careful. They don't really talk about the genders of the users, but you can tell from the name they probably is female or male, but they don't talk about genders. And you can also see from the occupation part, the real users, there will be sample buyers, of course, but you can see the occupations can also be housewife, can be school teachers who are actually luxury goods consumers. But on the synthetic user side is more stereotypical people. They have to be like investment bankers, they have to be really fashion designers, the high status people. So that's already something like the real user and synthetic users difference. And so I asked the synthetic users and real users, what is the ideal luxury membership program for you? So that's the answer. I see a lot of overlap between them. So for instance, both of them mentioned personalized experiences, the uniqueness, they mentioned about digital integration, so everything in one place. They talk about sustainability, but I'll go back later. They say sustainability in a bit different way. Then they also talk about community, and I specifically like the synthetic users summary. It's actually exclusivity. So that's actually also mentioned by the real users. But also real users mentioned more things about another type of exclusivity, they have the special access to the most sought after items, and the quality, the longevity of the products are the main reasons for them to choose luxury goods. And this is not mentioned by synthetic users. So I asked the follow-up question, just out of curiosity. What does sustainability mean to you? So here I actually see a big difference between the 2 answers. So synthetic users, you can see this kind of GPT-like answers. It's correct, but very generic. Okay, what is genuine display of concrete sustainable actions? We don't know. It's correct, but we don't know. But when you see real users' answers, it's really like you feel the human authenticity. I really like the quote from this participant. She said, my family has a tradition to use timeless luxury goods because we're not rich enough to buy cheap stuff, because we don't throw away things easily. We buy good things, and we use it for decades. And then also another participant, he mentioned this special aftercare of luxury goods. Like I can even take back my shirt to recolor it instead of throwing it away. So they give very concrete examples than just the generic, generic display of concrete sustainable actions. So that's the really difference between synthetic users and real users. And another use case I used actually helped me a lot. I was in Florida to do a field research to compare two boat designs. And after boat design, we asked the participants to fill in a short survey. And just, sometimes industry experiments run so quickly, and we don't have time to pilot. And so also for this survey design. So what I did with the permission of the client, we put it into our dial. So it's a large language model. I asked them to check the survey item design for us. So that's a very good suggestion. So in the end, we actually followed the suggestion of a large language models and changed our survey design. So this one, the model suggests us to split it into two questions, because they think navigate a boat and dock the boat are really two different activities, and it's better to separate them. And another, it's really important. We actually overlooked all this. That's pointed out by this large language model. They said that this item is really confusing because we call it the level of stress. But we give, when people think about level of stress, we will think, okay, if I put 10, that means I'm really stressful. And in this case, we actually say 10 is stress-free. So that's going to create confusion if a person receives this item. So that's why we follow the suggestion, and we change this item to the feeling of stress-free. Okay, that's really helped a lot. So we actually used it in part of our research to actually pilot the survey before we actually use it. Okay, then I'll just quickly go through. I still have time. I'll quickly go through. It's a little summary or reflection by me, like what can Gen AI contribute to research so far. So it's the same Florida study. I asked the BART just to give me some demographic information about the Floridians, because they are our target audience. And I find this really useful. It's better than Google search, because it can quickly give me aggregate information and even give me references for each fact on this demographic information. So I looked into all the websites it provides. It's very accurate. So that it's sufficient for us just to get a quick information and good understanding of your target audience. Instead of put 3 hours on it, I get this list in 10 seconds. And yeah, of course, we use it a lot for translation, the transcription tasks for us when we need to translate the whole slide to Japanese. And Miro AI really helped us a lot. And I still doubt the recognized actions. I won't say recognize emotions from video, but maybe recognize people's facial expressions, just to help us to interpret how people's reaction to products. And most important is they only provide insights into past data and events which have occurred. Which bring me to this slide. I wrote it in my recent published KAI paper, so I had a discussion reflection on this. So AI interpolates, and while us human extrapolates. So AI only so far predict within the known data range. And as humans, we go beyond the known data range. And our children are a very good example, because if our children really receive much less data to train their language skills, but I think they are vastly outperform large language models in all kinds of capabilities. Yeah, and another thing it's also mentioned frequently in my recent study with the UX professionals, it's the enjoyment and meaning. I think Kaisa also mentioned it. So I think it's something like we are not just seeking to accomplish a task or the end results. We are seeking for the enjoyment and meaning while we are doing all these tasks. So that's also something we shouldn't imagine AI to replace us. Okay. Yeah, so I'll quickly go through here. That's the 4 stages of UX research cycle, because I focus a lot on UX research and the quality research from the Nielsen-Norman group by the author Farrell in 2017. And she mentioned some typical methods for different stages. And underneath is my reflection after a few, like a 1 year's experiment with synthetic users. So what AI can do? So if I highlight the keywords in yellow, you can actually see they offer general things. They give you templates, they assist you, they suggest you, they automate something. They provide some standard metrics for you to do that. But they cannot, what things they cannot do? They cannot help you validate the research plan, because you still have to do it with your stakeholders, your clients. They cannot fully replace human, like to understand the emotional reactions, and also just to replace the real human experience. Okay, that's just, I think it's my last slide.
Questions, comments, discussion? Well, I can start, and hopefully others will then have their questions also. Yeah, I mean, fantastic work. I'm really, really impressed by this, to sort of really go into the details of comparing these approaches of using AI and real people. I was curious about that. I think it's a very important and interesting aspect, is interpolating, extrapolating sort of from the data. So can you say something about that? What's the implication of that observation, in your opinion, regarding this user research? I mean, what sort of, yeah, what's the implication of that?
Interpolate. Let me put down the slide. Yeah, so I think AI it's, I think Kai Kunze also commented as an expert. He said humans, we innovate because of we're curious, we're creative. We have a lot of social experience, like multimodal sensing. That's all our capability that make us to think beyond the data. So data is a reference. Yeah. And we have a lot of extra things to help us innovate. But AI, at least at the moment, only gets trained within known data. It's basically the online data, which is not even targeted to certain experience or product evaluation. So they can only provide very general insights within the training. They are lacking humans experience. Yeah.
So in that sense, human creativity goes beyond AI creativity, at least in some kind of dimensions, would you say?
I would say, for instance, as a cake artist, I can never imagine AI build a cake. They can build beautiful cake pictures, but just the sensory part, like how can you make it tasty and wow, So
that multimodal or multisensory experiences.
Maybe in the future they can even replicate that part. Yeah, but I still doubt it.
Thanks.
So you don't think? Oh, sorry.
So I can first, and then you okay. You mentioned in the beginning about the models being biased. How you see the solution for that? Because everyone is starting to build his own based on their backgrounds and so on. How we can go further, and how we can exclude this bias part?
I think just really including human feedback and every part. If you want to use AI in different part of the research, just include human feedback, human validation at each stage.
I have a couple of questions actually. So one of the questions is about the first use case that you used this synthetic UX tool. You mentioned that the difference between human participants and synthetic was the details, right? The detailed examples, the actual.
Yeah.
But wouldn't that be just more prompting? If you asked ChatGPT to provide with concrete examples of sustainability, I think it will do a pretty good job, no?
Yeah, I think the synthetic user is a bit different from GPT is like I first define the audience to ask.
Mhm.
So I don't show you the tool. So when they define audience, they even describe their job, their income, their interest, and how supportive they are in terms of sustainability activities. So it's like a concrete, it's like a persona. Yeah. So then either I ask questions to this group of people, and each of them have a complete interview script generated answering my question. They first introduce themselves, then they talk about things related to my question. So that was yeah. Then I get a summary of the insights. So I think it's a bit different from just directly ask GPT of one question.
And the other point, it just came up. Wouldn't it also be possible to ask it to generate an image of a cake and instructions how to make it?
I haven't tried.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't tried. People ask actually if you show the picture, can
Yeah.
GPT just say the recipes of it?
You can
And I
even
read it out.
you can use your existing data to validate
Yeah.
how well it does.
Yeah, I think recipes is very personal. Like
Yeah.
it's too personal.
Okay.
If they publish it, if they're not hiding it, you know.
Thank you.
Yes, a super interesting presentation. Thank you very much. Where does the data and the synthetic users database, let's say, come from? Do you know this? I'm sure you know.
Yeah, I think it's also it's from all kinds of large language models. I think they trained on themselves, but I don't know exactly the source. I think they didn't really tell the exact source they trained.
Last
There is
question.
no
Yes. Go for it. Yeah. So, as a part of the industry and the research, how you see the position of the AI co-pilots in the industry? Like the multidisciplinary people who are doing a lot of things with AI tools, and for the research about the AI clones and twins, would it be ethical later if the researcher himself is generating an AI twin or clone with all of his data and knowledge, and then it's creating the papers later on?
So your question is like how industries is doing AI research, and the papers is like publications?
Yeah, for the research part, there's those AI clones and twins that the person feeds them with all of the data, the knowledge, and so on. Later on, if this clone generates the papers and the research,
Yeah.
would be that considered as plagiarism or no? For example.
Yeah, it's like I think the code of conduct is like once you get approval to use AI tools for your deliverable project, you have to carefully describe how you use it and which part you use it. So far, yeah, I don't know if people really use it completely to generate content. So mostly it's for non-native speakers. They ask AI to check certain grammar issues with their writing. I don't think people are, yes. Yeah,
I wish that we could taste the cake. It looks really nice.
There are teams working on something like that, by the way. I can share the paper with you after the topic. Thank you so much, Jie.